What are you doing? What's up? It is Austin, Minutia, whatever the you want to call me, dude. Whatever. I'm grumpy, alright? I'm not in a great fucking mood, but I'm making a video because I need an outlet. So today, I'm going to talk about a tiny piece of tech that titillates me, and I don't know what to do with my feelings, so I need you to meet me halfway here. In this lovely little GameSir X2 case, I've got, is my new RG35XXH by Anbernic. And I've been wanting to get this thing for a little over a year now. I really wanted a gaming handheld. I wanted something Linux because I have tons of Android phones literally all over my house. I could not stand the thought of another fucking screen in my life. Another touch screen, rather. And I was just thinking about all the cool things that I could do with this thing, right? So, and I thought that I have a kind of a unique position here to talk about this device because I'm not a handheld junkie. I'm not a handheld nerd. I've never owned a gaming handheld before, except for a Switch Lite I had for a little bit before my hooer ex took it, stole it from me, like the bitch she is. You know who you are, bitch. And I had a Game Boy Advance like way long ago, and I had like 2 games that I didn't like. So I was really interested in getting one. Again, the Android, like the phones I have and shit like that, like they were about as, they're about as powerful as Retroarch Pockets anyways, so I wanted something like kind of like hyper niche. So originally I got this as a way to explore PlayStation 1 games I hadn't been able to finish or go back to, such as Mega Man Legends, Jackie Chan Stuntmaster, Spyro, Year of the Dragon, Do Prism, or otherwise known as Threads of Fate. Super sick games, and I was very excited to try them out, right? So I got this guy, came in the mail, and the first thing I noticed, and I don't have a lot of footage of this kind of stuff, if any, to be honest. This is, again, just, I'm speaking from anecdotal experience. This is very off the cuff. I'm not a YouTuber, bro. Just deal with it. This stock OS that came on it is actually pretty good. It reminded me of kind of like, I'm gonna say like 2006, 2007, like Metro PCS, Motorola, kind of like, or like Nokia, like that pre-smartphone like menu system. You know what I mean? It's very simple, it's very nice, mostly text with a simple background, very simple customization and stuff. Everything just kind of works out of the box, which I think is great. A lot of things were updated and stuff. I think the stock OS is not only great, but a great point to start with for anybody. But I was quickly finding that it wasn't quite as deep or customizable enough for me. So then I went to the modded stock, which was cool, added a few more features, but wasn't quite what I was looking for. And then I finally ended up on Mustard OS, which is what I'm using right now. Gave myself this cool little purple, what's it called? Like PSP type theme, because I'm a Sony slut. I'm such a Sony slut, buddy. And so I've been using it lately, and that is actually where I want to discuss things, right? So the jump from modded stock operating system to MuOs was not only awesome, I did love the customization, but holy shit, did things get tricky immediately, and mostly for one reason, and it's because of Retroarch, right? Retroarch is probably my least favorite thing about any of this Linux handheld experience I've had so far, right? It's just frustrating. In regular stock, it wasn't so bad because it seemed, to me, from what I could tell, it seemed like it was basically running one Retroarch instance in which it would play all of the games that you were playing. Whereas with Mustard OS, at least from what I can tell here, it seems to start a new instance of Retroarch every time you jump into a game. So whatever configuration file you set, even if it's global, doesn't carry over. So I had to switch over, like, let's say, like, cross and circle for menus every single time I went to a new game system. And for some of those game systems, every time I went into a different game. That was booty cheeks, buddy. That was ass. I did not enjoy that experience whatsoever. It's still been kind of frustrating too. I've also been noticing certain quirks, like when I got this thing right out of the box, I could plug HDMI out to my TV and it just worked. It just worked immediately. Sound worked out of it immediately and everything like that. Mustard OS, even though I didn't plan on using any of the Bluetooth features, I had to download a Bluetooth app pack just to have sound coming out of the HDMI. What? Huh? Dude, like, it made sense, bro. Like, I didn't understand it. It made no sense whatsoever. And the problem that I'm finding too is, again, I've been researching this thing for about a year. I've been looking into this kind of stuff for a year, and of course, the one thing I didn't happen to catch was any of the Retroarch like issues. Because again, it's like when you walk into a niche community like this, everyone kind of is like on that. They're already kind of on the same page. You know, Retroarch has been around for so long that I guess like everybody who uses it in the emulation scene is so used to its quirks and stuff like that that nobody really thinks to mention something like that. And again, it's a niche edge case. I'm using it on a very specific device with a very specific operating system, which probably gives it a whole other heaping load of complexities that happen here. I don't know, dude. Like, I think that should have been something that comes up more often. You know what I mean? Like, even with the really good creators like Retro Game Corps, I can't think off the top of my head of him being like very specific, like, oh hey, when you switch to Mustard OS, you're gonna have to reconfigure Retroarch every time you open up a game. And obviously this could very much be user error, bro. I don't know what the I'm doing, but that's why I feel representative of, like, you know, the average person walking into this thing, somebody who's going to see one of these maybe once or twice in someone else's video and be like, oh, that seems cool, let me get into it, right? Like, outside of that, I think it's great. I think the way things are lined up are pretty, I think the way things are laid out are great. I think that the applications it comes with are fantastic. I think the documentation on the website is also fantastic. That's something that you don't really find with stock OS or modded stock OS. I haven't tried Nully, I haven't tried any other ones because I mostly just wanted the customization features. Even though I have them, again, it just like, it's weird how like going from somebody who's been emulating shit on, you know, phones for a long time using Android and stuff, like this was really, it was different and not really in a good way, not in a fun way. You know, like that's something that I immediately felt like I was missing, that I didn't have that same kind of standardization and set it and forget it kind of feeling that I get with Android emulation. One thing that I really enjoy about this device is the different applications that are available. Like I like that there's an archive manager, I like that there's a file manager. I've been using Portmaster a lot. Portmaster is pretty fucking sweet. It basically is, you know, it's community made ports, let's say. Some require files, some are ready to go. My favorite right now that I've been playing is Max Payne. It's an Android port that has been ported over to Portmaster, and it is fantastic. I've had a little bit of slowdown. I'm in the second chapter of the game, but nothing game breaking. It's actually been quite enjoyable. Again, back to Retroarch, like I tried setting my settings in Retroarch directly in the app, and it just doesn't seem to stick, man. And every time I look up directions on it, it seems like there's always there's always something else. There's always something else you forgot. There's always some other setting you didn't do. There's always some kind of quirk. Like, here's one, for instance, that was super fucking annoying. On stock OS, I would play a game, I'd save it, I'd make a save state, I'd close a game. When I opened it back up, my saves and my save states were still there, right? Going on Mustard OS, doing the same exact thing, my saves and my save states were not there, because not only did, even though I saved in my game, and even though I saved in a save state, apparently when you run it through Retroarch like that, you have to close and quit it in a very specific way for it to actually save all of your shit. Why did nobody tell me that for the entire year I was asking and learning about this shit, bro? Like, come on, that should be like day one. Like, that should be day one quirk that everyone should know about getting into this, because that's the kind of shit that frustrates people into not going any further. I've got patience. I decided to pick a virtue one day, and patience was the one I picked. And this one, oh boy, has it been running me ragged. It's been annoying the piss out of me with certain things. And then just certain stuff that I wish was easier. Retroarch is just, I don't think that was really the move for something like this. I get that it's the easiest thing, it has the most customization, but even a stripped down version, more like stock OS had, or even just operating it better in that way, I think would have been better. Like, personally, I wish that I could have stock OS with the Portmaster support of Mustard OS and the customization of MuOs. Otherwise, I think stock was perfect. Modded stock was even better. This, I feel like I'm constantly between, like, okay, cool, I got to customize something, but now I'm losing a feature that I didn't realize I was going to lose until now. Or now I've added another complicated thing. Like, it kind of sucks that Bluetooth isn't just a setting, it's a whole app on its own. Like, that's not convenient, bro. That's the thing with this. I got it as a tinker toy. I was looking at this like, okay, I can play some Jackie Chan Stuntmaster, I can play some Spyro, I can play a little bit of, you know, I was even hoping to maybe play a little bit of PSP on this guy, a little bit of Ken Kabancho, a little bit of God Eater, which works kind of. You know, Ken Kabancho crashed on me. God Eater's been pretty good. But for the most part, PS1 and below has been fantastic on this. Even Dreamcast, dude. I was playing Soul Calibur on here and it was like, oh, dude, so good. But again, like, it's just starting to, like, the more I use it, the more the idiosyncrasies, yes, idiosyncrasies, the more the idiosyncrasies start to weigh in on me, and like kind of heavy out the experience. And then if I could think of anything else that could have been better on the device, I would say probably just the stacked shoulders. They're not even that bad. What I would have suggested personally is that with these stacked shoulders, they should have just put a very small paddle right here along that, because it didn't need to be much. Something just raised enough for you to kind of like brush your finger down on, because then you could have done like a da 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 da. You know what I mean? I feel like that would have been so much easier, and it literally would have just meant kind of filling in that last little bit right there. Because I've seen a lot of the mods that people make, and I think that they're good, but almost overdoing it a little bit. Like, you don't really need that kind of Nintendo style. I think you really just need, like, the slightest little bit of a paddle right there at the bottom could have been huge. Like, the slightest little bit of a lip or a paddle right there at that bottom one would have been tremendous. And then you could just kind of push, like, you know, in and then down. Otherwise, buttons feel great. This D-pad is sweet, dude. I actually never really cared about D-pads until now. This D-pad is actually really good. I have a DualSense and a DualShock 4, and I gotta say that this thing definitely competes D-pad-wise. Sticks, kind of booty cheeks. Apparently the cardinal snapping's been fixed in the operating systems. I have not noticed that in any of the three that I've tried. In all three that I've tried, I've had hard, like, cardinal snapping in basically every single game that I've tried. And the input testers don't seem to have non-cardinal snapping testing, so I don't know, bro. Again, it could be user error, or it could just be more of the Linuxy kind of idiosyncrasies and ethnicities that happen. You know, it's just it's just ridiculous. It's just a bit much, I think, for something that's supposed to be kind of plug and play and fun. You know, like, it was even something that was even kind of annoying too. It's like, dude, like, for something like this, right? Like, I would imagine that I have this, and that I should be able to set here in my advanced settings, right? Like inputs, let's say. I go here and I say, like, okay, I want my buttons to be set this way, and I want that to be configured for everything that I open. Is that too much to ask of this? Maybe. I personally don't think so. Every console does it. Every game you use on the Nintendo Switch uses the Switch layout. Every game you play, you know what I mean? Like, it seems commonplace. So I think that is a bit of a misstep here. Especially when, like, again, with Android stuff, like, it seems like once I set my controller up once with my phone just kind of gets it, you know? Like, I rarely have to, like, really go in and fiddle with stuff where it's like this. Every single game, every instance of Retroarch, I have to go in and change it again and save a configuration and hope that it sticks this time. Dude, save states are, whoever decided how save states should work in this version of Retroarch is straight up donkey dick, bro. Like, I don't know what is wrong with you, but why would you have to go into a menu, select your save state slot, and then go to a separate part of the menu to save the state? The fuck is wrong with you, dude? Have you not seen PPSSPP and how that shit works? Just put it as a little side menu, dude. Like, what were you thinking? Like, that is so, like, holy shit, bro. I feel like AVGN right now. Like, I want to soy face at you, because what the fuck were you thinking, my guy? Holy shit. Like, and, you know, like, obviously I still have more to learn. I've only had this thing, I'm gonna say for about 2 weeks now. I've been using it daily, and I've been daily driving MuOs for a solid week now, really giving it the run around. And I've been enjoying some of it, and I've been not enjoying some of it too. And I feel like that's gonna happen to a lot of us. I do plan on keeping this though, because it's got a lot of, dude, it's, as a musician alone, it's got a lot of cool shit. Like, just like somebody on Portmaster ported over the Piggy tracker. So I'm gonna learn how to use the fucking thing, dude, because I've always wanted to learn how to use it. I've always wanted to use LSDJ and like stuff like that, and go like old school tracker with it. And because it's so small, this thing is so tiny, it is like such a perfect companion for the Roland P6. You know what I mean? You can just do a headphone jack out of there. I haven't tested it yet. Apparently some OSs support USB audio output, so since this is a class compliant USB audio device, it is possible that you could do straight USB-C sampling over this. I have not tested it yet. I will hope to test that in the future. That would be super cool though. In fact, one day I was kind of messing around and I had this plugged into an older TV of mine, and I was just kind of playing like game demos through it, you know, like letting like the demo scenes play out, and then I was running the audio out into this and using this as audio effects, and it's pretty sweet, bro. Like, it was pretty it was a great time. So there's definitely a lot of fun to be had here. and there's so much to learn, but that's kind of the issue that I'm having with it. I have learned some complicated shit in my lifetime. I have taught some complicated shit in my lifetime, and very little has frustrated me as much as Retroarch has. That's not really an issue with this device in particular. It is a RetroArch problem that exacerbates issues with this device. Outside of that, though, I think this thing is amazing. I love looking at it. I love holding it. Just the form factor. I love slipping it in my pocket. I've got like the first 20 seasons of South Park. Is it? I was like, bro, this thing's literally perfect as a little South Park machine. I've got more versions of Tetris on here than you can believe, and I've played every single one of them, and I plan on playing them more. So like for $70, dude, it's awesome. But I just wanted to at least give like my first experience with this guy, especially because again, like I'm not an influencer, bro. Like I don't do this shit for a living. I don't really have a lot of experience. All I can show you is the experience I have right now with this and what I've been dealing with it. So I mean, do with that as thou wilt. But yeah, I'll definitely be doing more videos on this thing probably in the future once I figure out more about it. I definitely want to really explore this as like a music capability device. I mean, I've already seen some really interesting stuff. So I've seen some people have operating systems that have full XFCE desktop environments. So you could do like a desktop on here with Firefox, which I thought was pretty neat. You know, that could open up a whole wave of browser-based synthesis and or synths and plugins and effects and stuff like that. And the thing that I was really excited to try on here is almost every PlayStation device has had some kind of musical program. You know what I mean? So the PS1, the PSP, the PS2, all of these have had some kind of music program like what was it, like MTV Music Maker or Timbaland's Beatmaker 2000. So those are all, not that they're untapped, but they're basically just ready and waiting here for me right now. I can pull them up and I can just sample them, and they're like a completely different experience than sampling directly from my phone or from a YouTube video. And it's different than sampling from, it's not like sampling from vinyl. Like these are just random old ass game sounds that are probably from the same sample CDs that Timbaland, J Dilla, or whoever just had thrown around their fucking room. You know what I mean? And a lot of these are probably the same sample CDs that you heard in video games that you liked. It's not really a secret that a lot of your favorite video games soundtracks are amalgams of sample CD sounds. Looking at you, Legend of Zelda, I fucking know your secrets. Yeah, there's so much more to go here. I just wanted to kind of like give, I wanted to give a good old and dirty reference to what like the average Joe with very little to no information on this kind of shit might expect walking into it. So do your research, listen to the good folks that do know what they're talking about, but be aware that there's going to be a lot of ground that just isn't covered, and you're going to have to find it out on your own. Any good hobby is like that. Linux stuff especially is like that. Apparently Linux is just like that. That is just a Linux thing. Everyone can tell you right now who's been getting anti-Windows shit. That just seems to be how Linux do. Again, take that as thou wilt. All right. But yeah, Rant over. Check out this guy. It's pretty cool. Again, I would say for $70, bro, this thing's pretty sick. I mean, it's got two OTG ports. It's got an HDMI out. The mini HDMI out, I think, puts it leagues above almost any other handheld right now, especially for like shipping, handling, and to my door. $70, I think, through Amazon. Not so bad. It was cheaper before tariffs, but I got into it late to the party. But for that price, I'm actually very happy. I think the build quality is amazing. The sound quality is fantastic. I will give it that. These bottom firing speakers are actually very good. They sound fantastic. The feel of everything is good. I haven't had any kind of hardware issues at all. I would say the only real thing I've noticed is that the LCD does have a bit of light bleed, but only when you're in like a really pitch dark room can you notice it. I have a bit of light bleed in the top right hand corner. So for y'all, it's gonna be like here. But in the top right hand corner, I have a bit of light bleed. But again, for the price I paid, for the build quality, for how nice it is, for how often I just kind of hold it in my pocket, like it's gotten to the point where I've now decided when I'm home, I carry this around with me, not my phone. My phone is kind of like last priority now. I'd rather just kind of, play a little bit of Tetris, watch a couple episodes of South Park, do whatever. Portmaster's got a little drawing program. There's always something to discover, something to find. It's a nice little sandbox, and it's like a Tinker toy for the technologically curious. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. If you like the video, you know what to do. I'm not gonna harp on it too much. Just like, subscribe, blah 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 blah, whatever. And let me know what you think. If you have an RG35XXH or any of the other Anbernic devices, let me know what you think. Let me know what you got, and I will catch you next time.